Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about using the Holosun HM3X magnifier, and we're going to be comparing it, matching it up with two different optics. Here I've got the Holosun 510C, and here I have the Holosun 503G. Okay, so we're going to talk about matching it up with these two optics. Now, first let's talk about the reticle, because I think that's really important. The 510C, which is this one, okay, has a much bigger window, which makes it a lot easier to use if you're not using the magnifier. Now, when you do use the magnifier, because you're looking through that tube, you're not getting an advantage out of the bigger window, okay? But if you're not using the magnifier, yes, you have a bigger advantage as far as, you know, being able to see a lot more, especially if you're moving and shooting. The bigger window is an advantage. So on the 510C, basically you have a 2 MOA dot with a 65 MOA circle around it. Okay, with the 503G, with the ACSS reticle, okay, what you get is you get this horseshoe, right? You got this chevron, and then you got 3 dots underneath it, okay? Now here's the thing, when you're looking at this with the naked eye, most people, including myself, are not going to see this crisp, clear image of a chevron with 3 dots. You're going to see this. You're going to see kind of like a solid arrow, okay? That's what most people are going to see. Only when you use the magnifier are you able to see the distinct chevron with the 3 distinct dots underneath it, which gives it a significant advantage, because now you can use this reticle the way it's supposed to be used to do both bullet drop compensation and range estimation. All right. So with if you're using 5.56, you zero in at 50 yards. 100 yards at the tip over here, 100 yards, and then the legs are 300 yards. And then the first dot is 400 yards, 500 yards, and the last dot is 600 yards, okay? But most people are going to have to use a magnifier to be able to see these distinct dots. If you're not, you're going to see that. And it's going to be kind of hard to see distinctly what's there and do the proper bullet drop compensation and the range estimation. The way it works with the range estimation, if somebody's shoulders are outside of the legs, if they're outside, they're inside of 300 yards. If they're on the inside of the legs, they're past 300 yards. I'm going off memory on that. I don't remember that 100%. But basically, you can use the reticle to do both range estimation and bullet drop compensation. And if you're using different calibers, they give you a different chart. Okay, but to take advantage of this, most people are going to have to use the magnifier, because with the magnifier, you'll see this instead of this. Now, inside of, let's say, 50 yards, you're not going to use the magnifier. That's fine, because you don't need range estimation and bullet drop compensation. Basically, you put the arrow center mass and you pull the trigger and you're going to hit it, okay? So you know, at closer distance, even inside of 100 yards, you know, you don't need to use the magnifier. Now, what I have found, okay, is if you intend to do a lot of shooting inside of 100 yards, which is basically what given the areas that I live in and work in, there's lots of trees, so I'm almost always shooting inside of, most of the time inside of 100 yards. It's really hard to get out to even 300 yards. Okay, so for me, most of the time, the Holosun 510C is a great optic. I got a bigger window here for, fast target acquisition, and then if I do want to get further out, I switch on my magnifier, and now I can see further out. However, with the when I switch the magnifier on here, what happens is that the target gets enlarged 3 times, but so does my reticle. Okay, so my dot, which was 2 MOA, it now becomes 6 MOA, which is not a major disadvantage, because basically my target's been enlarged and my dot's been enlarged by the same percentage, so I'm not at a disadvantage. I can see my target better, so it's not a bad thing. However, with the 503G, because it's been designed in such a way that the magnifier gives you a crisp image, basically without it you see this. So the magnifier actually helps you see the way you're supposed to see, and you can kind of focus on the tip here put that on a target and you can get really precise shots. So the way I like to use these rifles, if I know that I'm going to be shooting mostly inside of 200 yards, I prefer to have the Holosun 510C with the magnifier, mostly using it without the magnifier. And then if I need magnification, I just switch this on. So if I intend to be mostly close distance, I'll go with the 510C. If I'm going to be shooting mostly longer distances, I prefer the 503G with the ACSS, which will mostly be used with the magnifier. And occasionally, if I get in close, I'll knock I'll switch this to the side, and now I'm shooting close. Okay, so that's my thoughts on this. If you intend to be mostly inside of 200 yards, I think the 510C is a better choice. If you intend to, if most of the time you're going to be past 200 yards, I think the 503G is the better choice. Okay, now most people typically in their minds think automatically match up the 510C with the magnifier. The reason is because of EOTech. Okay, people for a long time have been matching up EOTechs with magnifiers. EOTechs is a different technology because they are true holographic. So with a true holographic, what happens is the image gets magnified, let's say 3 times, but the reticle does not get magnified. Okay, so that's a significant difference with the EOTechs. Okay, because it's holographic, the reticle does not get magnified. So there's a big advantage to matching those two up. The disadvantage with using a true holographic is that it eats batteries. Okay, I did initial impressions review on EOTech, I think about 2 years ago. I didn't like the grainy image that much, but I think the main thing that turned me off was the battery life. I use these guns almost every day. I don't turn them off. I just pick them up. I expect them to work. These Holosuns, they've got solar powered with battery backup. It's just a much better choice for the way I use these rifles. Okay, so without cost being any concern, right? Even if somebody was going to give me a free EOTech versus a free Holosun 510C, I really need this. This is the better optic for the things that I do. Okay, so be aware that when people automatically match up the 510C with the magnifier, they're kind of like bringing that forward from their experience with the EOTechs, and they're saying, oh, that kind of looks like an EOTech, let's match them up the same way. Holosun actually sells these as a combo, and that's the reason. Okay, so just be aware that if you're actually shooting at distances, the 503G is actually going to give you more of an advantage. You're going to be able to see a much more crisp reticle at distance. Okay, so again, like I said, if I'm shooting mostly past 200 yards, I want the magnifier with the 503G. Okay, mostly using the magnifier, turning this off if I'm at close distances. If I'm mostly going to be inside 200 yards or inside 100 yards, I'm going to be mostly using this 510C without the magnifier, and only occasionally if I'm shooting at distances, I'll flip this over and I'll use it. Now, the other great thing about these Holosun magnifiers is they do have the quick release here, so you can just take this off completely if you don't think, if you know you're going to be indoors, or if you're going to be in a thick forest. There's no reason to have this extra weight here. It comes off, goes back on easy enough. I would just remove this, put this in your pocket or in a pouch or something, and just use the rifle with, just with the optic. Okay. Other thing I just wanted to mention quickly, we talked about the reticles, is the point of aim shift. Okay, I've got 3 magnifiers, 3 different rifles. Okay. I shoot guns every day, so when I tell you guys there's a point of aim shift, I'm 100% sure there is a point of aim shift. Okay, I shot this over here. Let's see, I shot this first without the magnifier. So without the magnifier, I am shooting here. With the magnifier, my shots are here. Okay, so when I zeroed this rifle in at 50 yards, I basically put the chevron right here. So it's hitting exactly where I zeroed in. Then when I remove the magnifier, basically it's a 3-inch drop over here. And a lot of people say it's a parallax issue. I assure you guys, when I am looking through that glass, okay, both with the magnifier and without the magnifier, for the purpose of this test, I make sure that the reticle is centered in my optic, inside the glass. Okay, so I'm perfectly centered. I look for that. I make sure I do that. Okay. Now, what I have found is with the ACSS, right, instead of putting my if I'm shooting it without the magnifier, right, rather than put the tip over here the way I zeroed it in, if I put my tip on the bullseye, I'm only a 1/2 inch above it. Okay, so that's how I have learned to use this. Okay, so if I'm using the magnifier, I'll put the chevron underneath it. If I'm not using the magnifier, then the chevron goes right on it, and I'm just about 1/2 inch high. So that's worked out really good for me. It might be something that you guys want to experiment with. Now, I'm not saying that this is the only way to do it. I'm just saying that this is a way that I have found that works really good for me. So if you guys got any of your own ideas, please put in the comment section. And I'm totally okay with people disagreeing with me or having different ideas. That's perfectly fine. I love to hear your ideas. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.